At the beginning here, Lancelot goes and is healed by a hermit. And one of the first questions that some people might ask is, how many hermits are there hanging around in Britain? Well, one thing to consider is that the hermit figure is in some ways a reduplication of Merlin. The Merlin character has been shut out here early on. He's been trapped on the stone under the earth. But the hermit then takes on that role of Merlin. Where Merlin was the sort of the pagan guide, the hermit becomes a more religious guide. He's normally a Christian hermit. Notice also what the imagery is saying, because the imagery has the hermit almost always located in the middle of the forest. Forest is that wild, ungoverned, chaotic area without law, where it's antithetical to human life. During this age of Mallory, they would not have seen the forest as a happy and genial place as we do now, because we frequently consider forest as being bucolic and lovely, and this sort of post-romantic vision of nature as being a happy place. But that's not how the medievals saw it. They saw the forest as hostile and terrifying and dangerous. And even now, I think that has a bit of ring of truth to it. If one were trapped out in the woods at night, or if you were cut off from civilization with no way to get back, you'd have a hard time surviving. So for them, forest was chaos, and it was wilderness. In the middle of the wilderness, then, is the holy man. The holy man is there waiting to help people that are astray spiritually or who have been hurt physically, and he brings them from their chaos back to health or back to order, interprets their dreams, etc., etc. So here the hermit is the interpreter, the guide, the healer, the Merlin figure who helps Lancelot get back on track. Well, Lancelot comes back to civilization and he tells about his exploits, and Gawain is marveling at his ability during these tournaments to lay on left and right and to hack away at this fellow and that fellow. And there's a certain admiration, I think, a brotherly rival almost between Gawain and Lancelot. They seem almost like brothers, one to the other. Certainly in battle, Gawain peaks during midday and then loses power during the evening, so he's quite a formidable figure on the battlefield. And as we see later, that rivalry turns into a really serious rivalry on the field of warfare. Notice also that here the tournaments that we're seeing now at the end of the story are in some ways replacing those earlier battles in the epic, where we had real battles of life and death situations early on. Now they've been converted by civilization into fun and games, albeit lethal fun and games to a certain degree, but it was an age where people, for entertainment, had physical activity. And even from an early age, young men and boys were given a sword or given a spear and told to go out and play. It was an era where people didn't just sit about for entertainment. Rather, they were active and putting themselves at risk and learning that whole technique of warfare. But here the image of battle early on has been converted by the marvelous mechanism that Arthur has set up, this peacetime civilization. It's been converted to entertainment, to jousts. And in those jousts, men can gain great glory and great nobility and great honor on the field of the jousting, of the combat, whereas they used to only be able to do so in the field of life and death, lethal warfare. So one of the aspects, one of the glories of civilization that seems to be given through Arthur's court is this converting of something rather dangerous to something which is now more of an entertainment. It's been softened, it's been civilized. At the last of this section, then we have a commentary on what true love really is. And it's intriguing that the author even makes the point that true love is like summertime. It is warm and everything's burgeoning and fructifaction of one's desires and hearts. And so we end this section with the image of true love as a season. Winter is a season of death, spring is a season of youth, fall is a season of older age, as Shakespeare will later say. But summertime is a season most akin to true love. And that sets the stage then, I think, for the last few sections of Civil War and the demise of Camelot. Because we have this peak, this paragon, everything seems to be going so well. And we have true love going on, and at last Elaine is out of the picture, and there's this possibility of true love between Lancelot and Guinevere, even though she's married to Arthur. And we have a court that's just having jousts, even though those jousts are somewhat lethal. But there's this sense that everything's in the summertime of the court. And as we'll find in the next section, the summertime turns very quickly to a fall and then a winter.